Guys, YouTube's N'Golo Kante. What a game it was. Chelsea versus Arsenal. It's 0-0, but it's now past it. You guys asked me to bring out player reviews, so I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't. So here it goes. Let's get into it. I needed that. Firstly, Lacazette, I give him 6 out of 10. He was central to the pressing game that we tried to display clearly. He was always in sync. He was there to offer an avenue in terms of a pass. He was running in behind. And he had a good little fight against Lacazette. How can he fight himself against LUIZ? If LUIZ wasn't as good as he was prior to get sent off, he probably would have scored. He could have done better in terms of reacting better and having a better effort. When Ramsey had the chance in the 16th minute and then he blazed it over, he could have done better. Other than that, he didn't have any chances really. He worked his socks off. And then another game he'll score and he's still adapting and things like that. It's a bit harsh that he don't get to play 90 minutes. But 6 out of 10 for him. He could have done a lot better, but he could have done a lot worse as well. And yeah, we signed him to make the difference. He didn't make the difference, but he worked his socks off. Next, Bellerin. I give Bellerin a 6. He put in a number of decent crosses. Again, like Lacazette, he constantly had an avenue. He was there to handle his defensive work. He had a good little tussle with Alonso, and he was getting the better of him. We was having joy down Alonso's left or right-hand side. Bellerin was central too, like getting in behind, linking up with Iwobi, putting a number of crosses for Welbs and players like that. He was guilty of a couple things. I mean, he could have put his foot through a number of clearances, but so far so good, and he did what he's asked. 6 out of 10. Ramsey 9 out of 10. Our best player on the pitch, in my opinion. I mean, he handled his defensive work. He was tactically disciplined. He as well as running him forward and making an outlet. He understood today and realised there was other aspects of being a central midfielder. He stopped the Hollywood antics and he put himself forward. On another day, he probably could have scored in the 15th minute when I believe he should have released it, and it seems like he was just freestyling. Then he had the effort, which I just said Lacazette blazed over. He could have done a lot better than that. And this is why we need Ramsey to play more often. When he plays like this, he always gets into the team, and this is probably the best example of when I always tell you guys, when Ramsey, someone has a word with him and tells him in big games or whenever that the team stuff has to happen, he does it. But then again, we're going to go and play like you saw a couple of weeks against whoever we played, running in behind, undisciplined. It's about being disciplined, and that's the only way you're going to be a better midfielder and play for the likes of Madrid's that he's spoken about. But 9 out of 10, he was our best player. Xhaka a 5. In all honesty, I would have put it lower, but on the basis that, again, like Ramsey handled the tactics that we were issued correctly. He didn't really get caught out. Well, he did, but in terms of tactics, he wasn't leaving any gaps. So that's what saves him. But other than that, he was poor with the passing, long and short, like I said in the previous vid. Just giving it away in the edge of our area, getting caught in possession at times as well. Second half, creeping into old habits. So yeah, 5 out of 10. The tactical common sense that he displayed today saves him. But if it was based on technical ability, then he gets lower. You guys know I love Xhaka, but I play it fair. So yeah, 5 out of 10. But in reality, it should really be a 3. I'll give Czech a 7. He was tested, but he wasn't. I mean, Chelsea didn't have that many clear-cut chances, but the ones they did, Czech was equal to. You saw him collecting things out of the air. You saw him getting down and being equal to it. You saw when he put off Pedro, don't get me wrong, should have done a lot better regardless of Czech. But yeah, you saw him trying to take the sting out of games in passages where Chelsea were getting on top of us and trying to kill it out. And he really deserves a clean sheet. Lord knows sometimes he plays bad, but there's times when he plays very good and we don't give him a clean sheet. So I'll give it to him. Monreal, I'll give Monreal a 7 as well. Often when we play, he's an unsung hero. He dealt with his defensive task. There was a chance where Morata was free and he made an excellent last-ditch challenge. He talks a lot as well, which goes under the radar because it's not the Koscielnys and Mustafis and Holding and players that are held in high regard. I'll give Monreal credit. I mean, I don't think he should be in the starting lineup. I mean, you shouldn't be trying to win a league with a 32-year-old left-back turned centre-half. He can be used in the squad and things, but to start on a regular basis, no. But credit where it's due. Like I said, 7 out of 10. Because Legend actually, I give him a 6. Why I give him a 6? He was solid today. He handled his. He was going forward a lot. But why I mark it down? There was incidences. He was caught in possession. There was incidences where he was. He gave the ball away in key areas like near our edge of the area and stuff, down his left-hand channel and stuff. And there was incidences where he was diving in and he can improve in that aspect. So I give him a 6 out of 10. But he looks like a good player. Mustafi, I would have given him a 7. But second half, maybe put it down. Yes, he had to handle Morata, and Morata didn't score, so he did very well. But again, he's getting too tight. I've been telling you guys for like a year I've been doing this YouTube thing, right? How long have I been saying stop getting tight because you pull players out of position and you pull yourself out of position, and we're still doing it. Obviously, he's not being coached. If he was under Pochettino or someone else, or this wouldn't happen. Like I keep telling you guys. But he's at Arsenal, and you, as a player, you should, away from being coached, you should have common sense to realise one thing isn't working. Let me switch it up. So I give him a 6, and he did want to leave as well. Off a side note, Koscielny 9 out of 10. Swept up everything today. World class centre half, man. This is what I'm talking about. There's not much more to say. 9 out of 10. Done what we know he can do. Wells, I give him 8 out of 10 because we know what we're getting with Wells. He's never going to be a clinical finisher, but big games, credit to Fergie for installing, what kind of words installing? Installing this winning mentality in Danny Welbeck. He knows what to do in big games. He handles his tactical abilities, and his tactical knowledge is very high. He handles his tactical his tactical instructions very well. You saw him following Kozlesny and helping him out at left back. You saw him breaking forward. You saw him getting in the mix of it, throwing his weight around. And Wells is a very good player, man. He's just never going to learn how to finish. Wells, you get 8 out of 10 from me. Iwobi, 8 out of 10 as well. Again, the way he recycles possession, the way he was winning possession, the way he wasn't afraid and he was linking up and things like that, especially in the first half. I believe he could have stayed on the pitch and we could have hooked off Xhaka. That way, Lacazette could have stayed on, in my opinion. But it's already happened now. So I give him an 8 out of 10. Alexis, I give him a 6. He didn't really do anything of significance to get higher than that. Giroud, I give him a 4. I mean, he worked and he cleared some balls and stuff and cleared some defensive problems. But other than that, he slowed our game down. Nene, a forward, you come on to solidify. You did anything but. Yeah, onto the Chelsea players. Now, I don't normally do this, but I give Morata a 7 out of 10. Why does he get as high as a 7 even though he didn't score? On another day, he will score. He was a constant nuisance. You guys know I'm a bit biased to Morata because I like him. But he was a constant nuisance to our back four. Every time he went up for a header, we were scared. He was springing the offside track. And it's exciting if I'm a Chelsea fan because these things will pay off against other teams in other games. So, yeah, he gets a 7. LUIZ, I was going to give him a 10 out of 10. I believe he's the best player in the Chelsea shirt today. But then he went and ruined it getting a yellow card. But if it's based on red card, sorry. Based on how we purely playing prior to that, 10 out of 10. But because of the red, I give him a 4. But if it's just on the playing, 10 out of 10, just keep it like that. Cahill 4, I believe he's only played 14 minutes in the Premier League, and it really showed today. Why they should have really went with Christensen, in my opinion. He's been decent for them. Yeah, he was poor today. He was trying to organise, but he did anything. But Azpilicueta, I give him a 9 out of 10. You don't hear from these guys unless you're looking. He did his job. He wasn't caught out positionally. He didn't give away. Only gave away smart fouls. And yeah, like I said, you don't hear from these guys because they do their job and they're competent and consistent. And he sprayed a couple of balls over the top from Morata that could have paid off on another day. I'll give Azpilicueta a 9 out of 10. Alonso, I'll give him a 3. He troubled us a couple of times, but on the basis that we had the majority of the joy down there, he was giving away silly fouls, he was being caught out. There was opportunities to just put your foot through it. He wasn't doing it. He was making Courtois nervous in opportunities when he was giving slow back passes and putting him under pressure. I give him that. Bakayoko, even though he only played for a half, I give him a 7 because you saw what he brought. He was running in behind, he was putting a foot in, he was stretching us, and they made it a 3 in midfield, and it was harder for us. And there's no coincidence we had a worse second half than we did first. Bakayoko was central to that, and he looks like an exciting player. Kante's Kante, 8 out of 10. I ain't got to go into it. Kante gets an 8 from me. Willian, I give him a 4. He put himself around, but it didn't really happen. Pedro, you get a 4 because you should have finished that chance, and you're good enough to finish that chance. Moses, a 5. He didn't do anything bad. He didn't do anything good. He just was so-so. But yeah, guys, that's my player ratings anyways. I'm out. Deluded Gunos. Get in the comments. Subscribe. Yeah.